So we still need to do a little shaping with the nose, and we need to put the beard on. At this point, we've gone around and fixed up this ridge of the hat a little more. Since this was sitting in my bag overnight, I'll want to kind of just make sure everything is smooth. Just use my fingers, clean stuff up, okay? And I do have that hole poked in there still from before. All right, so to make the beard, I want to take a small bit of clay and roll it into a ball. And I want this to be fairly thin. I want the beard to not be super, super thick. So I might have to roll out a little more clay than this. This might not quite be enough. Kind of making almost like a triangle. And that'll work. That would be a little bit smaller of a beard. This one had slightly bigger beard. I made out another size that's just a little bit bigger. So I could go that size. Kind of like that size a little bit better. They're both just a thin piece though, kind of triangular piece. All right, so once I have that kind of squished out, it does take a couple minutes to kind of form it and shape it. You know, how pointy do you want the edges to come up? And how pointy do you want the bottom too? Do you want this more rounded? Do you want that to come out at a little point? I think it's fun when it kind of sticks up. And at first you make it like, and it's really long, that will probably break off. So you just want it to stick out a little bit. And then if this beard were a really big triangle and we slipped and scored and smeared underneath the whole thing and it was a really large piece, we'd have problems. But since it's a fairly small piece, we should be fine. So you can see, where is it going to be attached? I need to do the scoring kind of along the mustache line would be. I go a little bit further down on the chin. And my slip has settled down nicely. I gave that another stir. Most of the lumps have come out. If it's a little lumpy, that's all right. Just dip my finger in, add a little slip. Clean off my fork. I'll score the back side. Being really careful because this is such a small, delicate piece. I don't want to dig in too aggressively. Just enough to rough it up. Okay, slip it. And then I dry my fingers off when I'm actually applying it because I don't want to add a bunch of slop to the outside. And if the slip starts to ooze out, I will very gently try to get that off, dry it, or smear it, get it out of there, because I don't like the slip to ooze out too much. I want it to be just underneath. And now I can just take the time to gently kind of smooth this. This piece is still really wet, so I want to make sure that it's on there good and that little chin part is sticking out the way I want. But I can't do too much. Finishing details, I should really wait. It's got more slip coming out under his nose. Wipe your nose. The nose I did yesterday though. So since that has sat overnight, it's a great time to kind of work with that shape. So maybe I could take the end of a chopstick. I can kind of play with the shape of the nose a little bit. And want the ball to be more rounded, and then I do want it to come and indent just a little bit on top on each side where the nostril is. So I like it a little bit thinner down the middle. So I'm just kind of forming the bridge of the nose just a bit, pushing that down. So I have kind of more like a dent here and here because the nostril comes down on each side. And I could use the end of a pencil. So the end of my chopstick is actually kind of big. Use the end of the pencil to make two little nostrils. And I would probably use my pencil to just play with the shape of the nose a little bit more. Till I get what I like. When I'm feeling comfortable that the beard has dried a little bit more, then I can go in and add some texture. If it's really, really wet, when you start carving into it, it's just going to make a bunch of clay debris, like clay boogers everywhere. But once it's dried out a bit, it's a little bit easier. So ideally, I would actually wait until it's sat out for a little bit before I do that. And then I would clean up any little spots. And I want to go around, clean up any, fingerprints and indentations. I always want to sign my work. I like to put at least my initials on the bottom and the year, because it's really fun actually to go back and see later things that you made a long time ago. Remember, like, oh, what year was that made? Or to find it, sometimes we keep stuff for a really long time. Or maybe it'll end up at a thrift store and somebody else will think it's super cool that you made it in 2020, the year of the virus. Anyway, all right, he's looking pretty good. I would loosely cover him with plastic, come back to him tomorrow to just fix up anything. Because if I let him sit out when he's super wet, or when this little gnome is very, very wet, if I just simply let it dry, a lot of times it'll crack. So I would loosely cover it and then check on it in, a day